Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. This is episode. What episode are we on? Six.
You don't know what episode this is?
Six.
You've been on every episode.
Yeah. I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
It's my fault because I titled the first episode as episode 0 originally.
Yeah.
And now I've thrown all the numbers off, and I'm trying to compensate, right? I'm trying to get back to it. I'm trying to get the numbers correct, but we're just not there yet. It's all right. We'll get there.
So I had a thought while we were watching the episode just now.
Okay.
What's
your thought?
Well, we're recording the audio of us listening or watching the episode.
Yeah.
And just in case there's any like little clips that we want to throw in there as bonus material. But what we could do also is have like a listen along episode of the podcast. So it's like listen along episode 5, the survival show, and we'll just have to say like, okay, play now. And then if people are watching the show, if they want to hear us like reacting to the scenes with them, then like that's something that we can do with that audio. Something to think about for next episode if we want to give that a shot.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll not take notes. I think I'll just probably watch the episode like the day before we record so that I can have notes ahead of time and then just watch along. Because, I'm, furiously jotting things down as we're watching, I'm probably not going to be... It's just going to be silence. We're going to be like, okay, watch along with us and go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's... I don't like... When I'm watching things for the first time, I don't really like a whole lot of chatter. But
sure.
There is that aspect of, like, if you're watching this alone, then it may not be as enjoyable as, like, if you had some people around you to, like, laugh when you think something is funny.
For sure.
Or, even like, I'll comment on something that you're like, I didn't even notice that, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right. I mean, yeah, I'm okay with that. We can try something.
The next before the next episode comes out, you'll see another episode posted called the Listen Along, and you'll just have to queue it up if you're watching the show. Obviously, if you're just listening to the podcast, you won't need to listen to that audio because it won't make any sense to you and it'll be pretty boring, I think. But queue it up and you can listen to us watch the episode with you.
That's right. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
We'll watch along. Yeah, it's a good show. It's a good show. We like this show. The show is a good show.
Yeah. I have a lot to say about this episode, so before we get into that, let's go and roll that intro.
Wakey.
Ah, good intro.
Yeah.
What a good intro.
Always the best.
Love it. Although, the more I thought about it, this is going to be the first episode where we actually have an outro song.
Yeah.
An ending theme, because we got a professional, semi-professional musician in the family, and he just knocked something together that I think sounds pretty good. And it definitely made me go like he's busy, right? Like he's gonna get married soon. His wedding is in like a week and a half or 2 weeks or something. So
oh wow.
He's like busy, but like I also want to be like, so you got any time? Because like I have this intro that I think is pretty good, but like I don't make music and I just slapped this together. So like maybe somebody who makes music could do better, and just give him my Audacity file and be like, enjoy. See, can you do it better? Do you get what I was going for? And then just let him do it,
Yeah. So I listened to the outro thing that you sent me, but it was on my phone while I was outside, like walking around. So I haven't heard it in the best conditions, but I will hear it for the first time in all of its, glory, like through my headphones when this episode is airing. So I'll listen to it.
Yeah, it's going to be totally worth it. I first heard it. He sent it to me while I was at the car dealership buying a minivan, which I did buy.
Suburban dad.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big old dad now. There's no turning back. I mean, there wasn't any turning back, but I didn't have a van yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that I'm going to have a child in school, we have to have 2 cars because
Yeah.
like school starts like at 7:40 and then gets out at 2:30. So like I'm not just gonna like leave. I'm not gonna get to work at like 8 and then leave at 2. Like
Yeah.
that would be great for me. Actually, I would love it if that was my schedule, but
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen. I don't think so. So
Yeah.
having a new car is good, and it's really nice. Like we got like a pretty sweet deal on it, and it's really nice inside, and the kids have loved it. We went on a couple of trips, couple of outings this weekend, and the kids loved it. And of course, we listened to Stray Kids the entire time.
Nice. Yeah. Cool.
So, Tom,
Yeah.
Jeanette and I we've been watching this show.
Oh my God. Can we have one episode where we don't talk about Kingdom? Because
Okay, so
the podcast, at least these episodes right now, are about Stray Kids and the Stray Kids survival show.
I know, but hear me out. We're not
Okay.
going to go in depth. We're not going to
Sure.
go in depth. We're not
Sure.
even going to talk about what happened in the episode
Yeah.
necessarily. What I'm going to say is that
Ryan Reynolds.
no.
Oh.
Well, Ryan Reynolds did. Yeah, there was a tweet, but I'm not going to talk about that. That's not what we're here to talk about. It's not about Ryan Reynolds. Although I did hear that he had said that he was going to send them an official Deadpool mask, and I think they got it, and it also had the bottle of gin and.
Yeah.
And like it was in a bag that it was also expensive, but yeah,
Mhm.
cool. No, but that's not what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say is that it was the last episode,
Oh.
and yeah, so that just aired, it was live, and they put it up live on YouTube, so it wasn't like through the normal service that we've been using. I mean, they still put it up there once it was translated, but because they were doing it live. It was almost 3 hours long,
Wow.
and it started at 5 a.m., around 5 a.m. Central,
Mhm.
and so it was also the same day that we were gonna go and look at the van to like get this van, right?
Oh.
So Michelle had a hard time sleeping the night before, and woke up Jeanette at like 3:30 for like the last time that Michelle woke up that I'm aware of. And so Jeanette was stressed out. Obviously, we're like thinking about getting a car and all the expense of that. And then also she was like, she wanted to wake up and make sure to like watch Kingdom live. She wanted to see the performance live.
Yeah.
And also like there was voting that goes along with it that was only going to be open while the episode was running because, once the episode ends, they've declared the winner. So she wanted to make sure that she was awake for that. So it was like 3:30, and she just stayed awake for the rest of the day.
Mm.
And
Long
I
day.
also, it's a long day. I also was like woken up about every 30 minutes, 30 minutes to like an hour and a half by Logan. Like Logan kept waking up too. Like, so we were both just exhausted. And like by the time the morning came and it was on, like the survival show was on, or not the survival show. I mean, it is a survival show, but Kingdom, when Kingdom was on.
Yeah.
I woke up, I watched Stray Kids performance, and then I just went back to bed
Oh.
until like 9. I was like,
Wow.
there's no way. I can't, like, I was so tired. So
Yeah.
I just just went back to bed. So, but Jeanette stayed up. She was a trooper. And when we watch all of the Stray Kids content, you'll get to find out what happens. So that's my tease for you.
Okay. I
Hopefully you don't get spoilers.
Well, I feel teased, first of all, and nobody
Nice.
wants spoilers, right? Let's avoid that at all costs. River's the baby, everyone.
River is the baby. Oh no.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
So this episode,
Yeah, let's talk about it.
why didn't they put a disclaimer at the beginning that said,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, do you want to fucking cry for the next 20 minutes?"
Yes.
Oh my
I
God. I was in a puddle of tears the whole like for the first like 15 20 minutes of the episode. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad.
Honestly,
and
like I
emotional.
thought about warning you that like this episode is not about their performances.
Yeah.
It's not about anything but like punching you in the heart, and then being like, "Oh no, let's take it easy. Let's massage you a little bit. And then punch you in the heart again. I'll punch you in the heart.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, they really like, and that's why I considered warning you before the episode ran because I found out what it was about.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Yeah, I wanted your reaction and your feeling about it to be more authentic. I didn't want to ruin that part. I mean, what I did tell you was that like
we get more
it was
detail.
weird at the beginning. Yeah, because at the beginning, at the end of the last episode, and it's in like I went back and watched the end of the last episode because I had to like double check myself that like Minho does get eliminated, and it's not a preview for the next episode. It's literally, but they pack it into like the last like 2 minutes. It's very dramatic.
Yeah.
But at this episode, they are going through the elimination. Hold on, I wrote this down actually because there was like he gets eliminated. We get a lot more detail. There's a lot of talking that goes on, and we'll discuss it a little bit. But like the thing I wrote down was because I had to check as it happened.
Because it seemed like, well, at least for me, maybe I missed a couple of the subtitles, but it seemed like for just a moment that they were saying that somebody else was eliminated. I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on.
Right,
I'm confused. But then they were like, no, at risk of elimination.
Right, at risk of elimination. Yeah, because they had Jong-in. They said the two people who are at risk of elimination step forward because Jong-in was at risk last time.
Yeah.
And so like I was confused about that the first time I watched the survival show too, because I thought what he was saying when he like initially was like talking about eliminating somebody was that if you are on the chopping block twice, you're eliminated. And like in a previous survival show that we watched for Need You, it was literally that. Like if you were on the bottom twice, you got eliminated. You just got straight up cut. And it was just the rule. Like there was no nothing. Yeah, but there was a lot more people, and it wasn't like a group of people who were like friends and put together. It was a bunch of people who got cast. So a little different. But the whole opening segment. So we saw 2 minutes in the last episode of them going like, "Okay, Minho, here's your criticism. You get eliminated." And then this episode starts, and then we get 17 minutes of this episode were all that.
Yeah.
So they went over that. They had interviews with all the people talking about their feelings, and yeah, it was I couldn't believe it. Like they were 17 minutes. They spent 17 minutes like ripping out your heart and showing how like Minho works really hard and he tries to help everybody and he's like the greatest, kindest soul and like everybody loves him and like yeah, it's a lot of feels.
I mean, at least like put a warning up there that says like, hey, you're going to need to like go get some water before you start this episode because you're going to be dehydrated after the first 20 minutes.
Oh my God. It was crazy. They just, all right, let's get into some specifics, right?
Yeah.
Because, they bring up the three people who JYP says fell short because last time, like we heard it in the criticism, but they cut straight to Minho being eliminated, and they said the people who were disappointing were Jong-in, Minho, and Felix, and then Minho was eliminated. And JYP's comment after he was eliminated was that clearly he gave his all, but his training was shorter than the other members and that they all worked hard. And I was like JYP does this thing where he tells them like, why are you so bad? Why do you have no confidence? Blah, blah, blah. Like all this stuff when he's like, but you did really well. And I think you worked hard. And I'm like, dude, but it's because he's like seeking for perfection, I guess. But like, man, like he like after he eliminates Minho, he's like, no, but really it's clear you worked really hard. And I'm like, man, you just kicked him in the dick. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he can be genuine, right? And I don't think that he's being disingenuous when he says things like that. But but Minho is also an investment for him, and so you know he's being eliminated from Stray Kids, but he's not being eliminated from the company or the potential to be a star afterwards. So that follow up the follow up comments from JYP are to make sure that he's not like just gonna give up from that point. He's saying, you can work hard. You did work hard. You can still be a star, but we need to
Yeah.
train. But we need to train you more, And so
Right.
uh,
Yep.
that
Mhm.
way tomorrow he doesn't, just lay in bed all day crying about how he's not in Stray Kids anymore. But he's back in the studio dancing, singing, doing what he needs to do
Right.
for the
Yeah,
company.
still practicing, still working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he even like I think that it even looked like on the expression on Minho's face was like shocked because like JYP like stands up, like walks over to Minho and doesn't just tell him that it necessarily from the bench. He does, but he walks up to him, shakes his hand, tells him like you did good, like you did good and you're going to be good.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't have enough training right now. You just haven't been through our training as much as the other members, and that's it. And then he fucking books it out of there. Like JYP, like he just bolts off stage. And I think he's probably an empathetic person. Like this is like a thing he does. This is where I feel like maybe he's different than like a Simon Cowell character because I think he cares. Especially because like all of these boys are investments for him. It's not just like randos off the street singing.
Yeah.
Like he cares about their development and what's best for them. And so he knows. Yeah, I think he could tell that like they're all super emotional. They've all been together, and so he shakes the hand and he's like, all right, see ya, boom. And he like busts out of there. I mean, like he's off stage immediately.
Yeah.
And maybe he just has somebody else to criticize at that moment and he had to get to his next criticism. I don't know.
Well, I think it's probably, the way that I saw it was that he's like, I don't need to be here anymore because these guys, need to hug it out or whatever. Like,
right.
He doesn't want to
and that's
step
true.
into that for too long.
Yeah, especially because like, they're all holding it together until he leaves.
Right.
And then he leaves.
And then it's waterworks. Not just for them, but for us as well.
Oh my god. It's like there are stays on Twitter now that I follow that are like they'll say like I'm thinking about watching the survival show, but I'm not ready to feel that sad again. And this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're like it's really good and it's like, it's content that they can review. It's evergreen. It's great. You really get to know the members. But man, do they hit you? Like this is an episode. So like Jisung is the first one to approach Minho, which of course, like he's the one who grabbed Minho's hand when he was stressed at the elevator stage. Like he's a good guy and he runs right for him. And then you see Felix kind of like behind him and he's just immediately sobbing, crying. He is a man. He is over 20 at this point and he is sobbing, crying. Like his lips are shaking because he can't control his emotions. You got Sungmin is in the background and just tears are just running down his face. He's crying so much. It's really like one of the most emotional scenes I've ever seen in a show. Like you just typically don't see that, especially from like men. Like men don't cry on shows in the US. Like that is not a thing you see very often.
Oh, it's so
and usually it's one tear rolling down,
Yeah,
so
one little speck. It's very emasculating, right?
Right.
Men aren't allowed to cry. Men aren't allowed to have emotions.
Right. Yeah,
especially about other men. Ugh.
Right, yeah, which, the Stray Kids, they have a lot of emotions for each other, clearly, by this episode. So everybody's crying. Woojin is, like, wandering around on the side of the stage, like, just, like, wide-eyed, like he doesn't even know what happened, and they, like, cut to his confessional, and he's just like, no, I keep thinking that this is a lie. This can't happen. It's just and Minho is like trying to hold it together. He's crying. He's got a tissue and he's like wiping his eyes and everything. And Bangchan walks up to him and he goes, he
oh my.
Yeah, oh my, and he goes, why did you forget the words? and he's like, and Minho says, I just went crazy, I guess. And then they say like, I should have just done it like in practice and it would have been fine. And Minho tells Chan that he's sorry, and then Bangchan tells him like, why are you sorry? And he gives him a big hug, and like it starts out like feeling like between the two of them, it feels like very like not like standoffish. That's not what the term I'm looking for, but like very like they're holding back, like they're trying to be like tough guys about it, like. And then like when Bang Chan like hugs him and starts holding him like really tightly, like he just doesn't let go, and you start to see that emotion like come over his face, and he's just like he is sorry because he's the leader and it was his responsibility to hold them together, and he feels like that he couldn't do that for them. So
he said why are you sorry? I'm sorry. That's what he said.
Yeah, why are you sorry? I'm sorry. Yeah. As the leader, Bang is more sorry. It said like he just said that, but like the screen was like, hey, you know the emotions that are happening, they're happening.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they kept like, oh man, I think this episode, all of the episodes, they flash like a little narration on the screen, but we got a lot of it in this one. Like, oh, Minho resents himself. He sure does. Like, they cut to a confessional of Minho, and he like starts kind of like he's going through like the stages of grief. He's like bargaining. He's like, man, if only I had like slept an hour less and like worked an hour longer, maybe that would have made the difference. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like they really get in this episode, they get into the crux of like, hey, it's hard to be a K-pop star. Like it is not just like lay back, chill, other people do the work. Like there's none of that for them in their future. So
oh yeah, especially when they get like so after all of this, emotional stuff happens and you have a moment to dry your eyes like they do. They go to the JYP training room where JYP comes in and starts to give them, it's like, man, this episode was just like, hey, let's cry it out for
17 minutes.
For 17 minutes. And then let's get a really nice, like not even specifically for K-pop stars or celebrities, but just for people in general. Let's get a really nice life lesson about just like how to live and be a good person, from
Life
JYP.
Lessons by JYP.
Yeah. So what were they? It was sincerity, diligence, and modesty. Yeah. Sincerity, diligence, and modesty. And that diligence one, man, that's tough, right? What he's saying is, I mean, you have notes for this, right? Yeah. So, but he's saying, stop hanging out with your friends, stop going on vacation, stop talking to your family, like not in a bad way, not like shut them out, but just like the time that you would be spending doing that is time you're not getting better at, your job.
Right.
So
yeah, he tells, it's pretty crazy. And, he tells this story about like in their country, like connections are made on the golf course or in a club with girls.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I don't go to any of those events. And so the time that would be spent doing those kind of things and trying to raise your profile by making connections, instead, you spend that working on everything until you're perfect. And you must forgo any other thing for this. This is like your dream, and so you should put everything into it. And it is like, it's intense. I mean, like, not like when he says like, yeah, you're probably not going to be able to hang out with your family, like friends. Like, I get it. Like, first off, you're going to be on camera all the time. It'd be weird. Like, you'll probably be able to text with your friends from high school or whatever, but like, even that's going to be sparingly.
Right.
But hanging out with them? No way. It's just not going to happen. It's probably easier for Felix and Bang Chan. Their family's in Australia, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Australia, we've now got a 1% listener base in Australia.
5%.
Oh, 5%.
Yeah, 5%. They keep listening.
Yeah.
The Australians just love us. They love us.
Yeah.
Good day.
I've never once heard her say good day.
Because you're not Australian. Do you think she does? She's never said good day to anyone?
Betcha
she has.
We'll find out. I'll ask her after.
It's just a word. I mean, it's a word like like it's like I I live in Texas,
Yeah.
right? But I live in a city. I don't ride horses, but I do say howdy.
Right. Oh yeah, I say howdy too, but like like unironically. I don't know. Like I'm not saying it like howdy, you know. I'm just saying like howdy, you know, like what's up?
Right,
Whatever.
yeah. I say howdy. I say howdy is short for how do you do, and I say it. So there you go.
Yeah. I don't
Just
know.
saying that it's just a word.
Good day, just I don't know, just is too
It's
much like
good day.
I know, but it's just too much like milady to me. Like,
What? Why?
I don't know. It's just how I think about it.
It's a word that's used by Australians.
Sure,
like
sure.
Yeah.
Is it exclusive? It's an Australian exclusive. You heard it here, folks, on a K-pop podcast. We're going to teach you Australian vernacular.
I am just look. Look, we established last time that I'm a sausage, right?
Oh yeah,
and I watch British shows, but there's I believe it is a British show, but it takes place in Australia called the Dr. Blake Mysteries.
Okay.
And so, but I, I guess the problem is, as with any pop culture exposure that you get, is that like, much like in the US, like depending on where you live, your accent's going to be different. So maybe some parts of Australia don't say good day ever.
Yeah.
I'm like purposefully not trying to put on an accent with it now. I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want to alienate the Australian listener base, you know?
Yeah. For sure.
It's important. We're going worldwide with this, okay? Like everybody loves Stray Kids. Hey, you know what? Like Stray Kids everywhere all around the world is their slogan. So, just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Diligence was pretty dark. I thought Modesty was good, and
oh, of course,
They kind of touch on it with Sincerity. Also, is that like the way that he kind of like portrays it to them is like, don't just like be a good person in front of the cameras,
right,
or in front of other people, and then think internally like, no, actually I'm special,
right,
like. No, like what they should strive for is to feel like I'm not special. No, I'm equal to the bus driver.
Right.
I'm just a person doing a job. And I was like, that is the most healthy and like a K-pop or like any pop star could be, because like then you don't, run into all the other issues that like the pop stars in the US have, where they end up going a little crazy most of the time.
Right.
For various reasons.
Yeah, I mean, not just for K-pop star, but I mean that's just like I was saying at the beginning of this part.
For life.
It's just like that's a good way to just be, is that you are not you're not above anybody. Even if your title or your rank or whatever you have over somebody, whatever that is, it doesn't ultimately matter. People are people, and you shouldn't ever think that, oh, I'm above this person. Because if you don't have the people that you would otherwise feel entitled over, you wouldn't be where you are, right? If you didn't have bus drivers, you couldn't ride the bus. If you didn't have burger flippers at McDonald's, you wouldn't have your fucking burger, so.
And I love my burger.
Oh yeah.
Okay? From Macca's.
From
I'm just trying to be inclusive, okay? We have an international audience.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So,
but yeah, so those are just good things, right? Like be a good person, be modest and humble and all that, but not just for the camera, but for yourself, because then, I mean, and even he touches on this, it's even going to help with the like the camaraderie and the friendships that they have within the group, because they might feel at some point like, oh, I'm better than him at this, and he's bringing us down, or whatever they might feel, because they feel higher or above another member and whatnot. But you can't
Right.
have that if you're working as a team. Like, it's about each, everyone working together and not thinking, if only this person weren't so bad at this.
Right. Yeah. And like, I feel like that's not just a good thing for the group as a whole and the health of the group, but also like for the company. If you think about it from JYP Entertainment's perspective, like if you have somebody in the group who feels like they're better than everybody else, then like what's going to stop that person from wanting to leave and
Right.
going solo? And then that is going to mess up so much work that the group has put in. Like that could be a problem. And I think like, the point that he's making, obviously that's true from a business perspective, but also just like he is telling them like, well, like if you do that, you are kind of like screwing your other members. Like,
Right.
So like the people that you've spent all this time with and who've helped you get to where you are, like you're gonna like you could leave them in the dust and really hurt them. Like that'd be a bad thing. That would
Right.
make you a bad person.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
for sure, it definitely would.
Yep. So they're all stressed out because Minho is eliminated and they feel sad and they've been working super hard. And so JYP staffer comes into the practice room while they're hanging out and tells them that they've been working hard, so they're going to get a 1-day vacation. Are they not generous? Oh, but not like a vacation. Like it's going to be on camera.
Right.
I thought that was a little silly. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it is a vacation and I love this whole part. But like, I'm like, is that disingenuous?
We'll get into like what they do for the vacation, but non-spoilery because it's in literally every episode of this show and probably every other show that the JYP is a part of, which isn't a bad thing. Like you have to have sponsorships, but it's still work for them because they have to be a certain way and do certain things. Like when they are when they're ice skating, they take a moment to sit down and enjoy a nice, refreshing, and delicious Coca-Cola on camera.
It really is
for like 3 minutes.
It's so refreshing.
Coca-Cola is probably the best beverage that you could consume after ice skating or doing really any activity with friends because it's so great and fun and refreshing.
When you've been crying your eyes out that your member was eliminated, have a Coke. It'll refresh you. You'll feel very refreshed.
Don't drink water. Drink Coca-Cola.
Yeah, there you go. So they start off like goofing off on the bus. Oh, Twice was playing. And it's like the song. It's called Likey, and it's the song that I actually used in an early episode,
right?
In our first episode, I think I slapped it in there of just a little clip of it. So
yeah,
maybe
me
I'll
likey,
put it in.
likey.
Yeah, me likey. It's really good. It's really good. I love that song. I mean, Twice is great. My kids like it, so and me, I like it too.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to their first destination and they're at the beach, but the waves are like huge and choppy. So they decide that they're going to like charge at the water and then run away from the waves. And they have a hilarious time like trying to run away from it. Even Jongin, a real Busan man, is swayed by needing to run from the waves so he doesn't get wet.
Yeah.
Woojin does get wet on the other hand, which is hilarious. Mm-hmm. His shoe gets wet, and of course, he's sad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Woojin.
Poor Woojin. He got wet. At the first event, he gets wet. So he's got a wet shoe. Maybe the staff has a backup shoe, but I doubt it. Like he probably just has a wet shoe for the rest of the time.
And wet shoes, well, wet socks especially are just the worst. Nobody likes wet socks.
Okay. I can one up it a little bit,
sure,
right? Because the kids will wake up sometime in the middle of the night and I have to go and put Logan back in bed and stuff. And so I'll walk over to the room, I put him down, and then I'm on my way back and then I step in something wet and I'm like, well, like if I have socks on or whatever, it specifically. I'm not always wearing socks at night, but sometimes. So I'm wearing socks. I
But
step
sometimes.
in something wet. I step in something wet, and I'm like, mother. Okay, look at my sock. It's cat vomit.
Oh no.
Yeah, because cats just like vomit sometimes. They're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah, they're just walking around and they go, "Oh, guess I'll have a vom." You
Yep.
know, just-
So that's pretty gross, but it happens. So then I'm like, I have to take one sock off, and I've got one sock on, and it just doesn't feel right. And then I got to clean up vomit, and I got to wash my hands, and then I go back to bed.
yeah,
It sucks.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can maybe one up that.
Yo, yeah, let's hear it.
So there was a period of time a while back, a few years back, where I was really into margaritas for some reason, like making my own margaritas.
Okay.
And
Where's this going?
oh, don't worry, we'll get there.
Okay.
And this is like my one, I guess, like embarrassing drunk story. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm really into margaritas, and so I like have all these supplies, and I buy this big bottle of tequila. But I eventually run out of the mixers and things like that to make good margaritas with. So now I just have like this. I still have this giant bottle of tequila, you know.
Okay.
And one night I'm like, well, I can't make a margarita, but I could do shots. So
Yeah, why not
I just
shots?
start like pounding shots of tequila.
Mhm.
And then I guess at one point I, got up because I needed to use the head, and I walk
Sure.
over to our carpeted stairs and just start
Mhm.
peeing all over them.
That's not real. What?
Yeah, and Anna
No
and
way.
and Anna calls out to me and she goes, "Hey babe, what are you doing?" And I look over at her and I go, "What does it look like?"
Oh my god! I can't believe that's real.
This is
Oh
a
my
true
God.
story. But here's the thing,
This is-
like I don't remember any of this. This is literally
Right.
Anna telling me afterward, because obviously like I'm so far beyond comprehending what I'm doing, because the bathroom is right there. Like if I had just
Yeah.
turned around and walked 2 steps, I'd have been at the downstairs bathroom.
Oh, no.
So, but the next morning, right? I I get out of bed. I put on some clothes, some socks, and I walk downstairs. And I get to the bottom of the stairs and go squish, squish, squish. And I'm like, oh, Roxy peed on the stairs, you know. And Anna goes, "No, she didn't. You did." And I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
"What? Why would I pee on the stairs?"
Wow. Okay. Well, that's that happens sometimes. I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. I usually this week I had a glass of wine once. That's the story. That's the whole story. That's
That's a good
it.
story.
That's a
You
good
know,
story.
I don't really drink that much anymore. I mean, like,
How long ago was this?
this was we.
You still have the bottle, so
No. I meant like at the time. Like I still, I still had the bottle of tequila, just no mixers to go with it.
Yeah,
No, I don't
okay.
still have that bottle. This was, I don't know, 4 years ago, maybe 3
Oh, okay.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
This was before Spain. But
Dahlgren?
yeah.
I see.
But yeah,
Honestly,
I'm just
it
not.
makes sense. Okay.
Why?
Well, I was gonna say it makes sense to me because, like, if I was stuck in Dahlgren, Virginia, I would also get blackout drunk and pee on my stairs for fun, just to
For
have
fun.
something to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't really usually, like, even when I do get like really messed up, I don't typically do anything like that. So I wonder, like,
Yeah.
was it tequila, or like what was going through my head where I was like, this is okay to do right now, because like I've never done anything like that, and I haven't since then. So I don't know what happened.
It's true. I mean, like, I can testify to that. I've been around you drunk a lot.
Yeah.
So, it's always been cool and kosher. Nothing crazy's ever gone on except for the one time that, and it wasn't you, but the one time that somebody vomited out your window
Yeah.
while we were driving down a freeway.
Yeah.
So that happened.
I
but
wasn't
it
driving
us.
drunk. FYI, just for anyone listening, I was the designated driver of this occasion.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You were.
My passengers.
No,
were.
I was.
Oh, you were.
I
were
was.
Yeah.
I took your car then afterwards to the car wash and had to like blast the side of it.
Yeah.
Oh, what a good night.
Yeah. We had good times.
We have good times. Anyway, this is a Stray Kids podcast.
Yeah, totally it is. For sure.
So they head to a street market, back to the episode.
Yeah.
They get some fried chicken. They have some snacky snacks. They ordered 15 servings of pork neck.
I don't think I've ever had pork neck, so I can't react like you are.
I've never had it either, but I like if somebody just says pork neck to me and says they're gonna eat it, I just feel disgusted. So there's nothing I could do about it. I can't stop myself from feeling that way. Look, I don't eat blueberry flavored things after like 11 a.m. So like
that's true. Yeah, you do have very particular standards on food. So
right.
Yeah.
You can't I just won't eat pork. But here's the thing. Here's the trick, right? I wouldn't eat it here. But if I was in Korea and somebody was like, try this pork neck, I would try it.
Sure.
Because like vacations are about trying things.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Hawaii, I ate everything.
Right.
Even things I wouldn't normally eat. Like cooked fish, I usually don't eat. Raw fish, delicious. Cooked fish,
oh yeah,
it tastes like fish. Sorry, I don't like it.
Right. Yeah. It tastes like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree totally. Like cooked fish, typically I'm like, I could eat literally anything else and have a better time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, not my go-to.
So they grab a bunch of food for the road and then they head to an ice skating rink. And head out. They hit the ice. Woojin gets out there and immediately falls over, and then repeatedly falls over like 15 other times. He just keeps falling. He like can't stay up. He finally, I think, gets the hang of it a little bit, but he's wobbling around like a first timer. He's never done this before.
Yeah.
And then they show Jisung and Hyunjin are great. They're good skaters. They're doing better than everyone else. They're going all over the place.
Yeah.
So they decide they're going to have a relay race with those two as the team captains.
Right.
And they split up everybody else after just picking the order. The first round of the relay was Jisung and Hyunjin, and they get back just basically about the same time. Like they make about the same time. And then the next people to go are Chan for one team and then Woojin for the other team. And it is the slowest race I've ever seen because they're both just like stumbling forward, just like not making much movement. Well, the one thing I didn't want to note with that specific part of it though is that like Felix starts chanting and he's going let's go Chris, because Bangchan's English name that he uses in Australia is Chris.
Right.
So and Felix, of course, speaking English, they're both from Australia. He knows him as Chris, and he still goes by Chris from time to time. There are definitely times where people will call him Chris.
Yeah.
And he calls himself Chris. But yeah. So anyway, so they start stumbling around. They eventually make it, mostly at about the same time. And then I think the next ones to head off were Sungmin and... Was it Felix? No, Felix raced against Changbin. Sungmin and Jongin. The two of them were going together. And at first it seemed like Jongin was doing pretty well, but then like he kind of got tripped up and kind of went the wrong direction. And so Sungmin starts to pass him and then gets there, and that's when Felix gets to have a head start. And so he's skating along. He's throwing dabs. He's doing dabs repeatedly. Felix just, yeah, I got this. We have a big lead. And then Changbin gets to go. And he starts speeding. And they literally
so
give
serious.
him extremely serious. They give him like Super Saiyan fire around him as he comes up to pass. Really funny. And then they get there. He gets there, and then there's like this like pause, and they're like, what are you guys doing? The captains have to go again. And then they're like, oh, right. So then Hyunjin and Jisung go again. They start their race again, but this time Hyunjin gets a little tripped up trying to get started, and he just can't ever catch up. He gets pretty close. I mean, they at the beginning of it seemed like there was a bigger distance between the two, but at the very end, Jisung does win the race. Although unlike all the other competitions in this show, this time Chan did not have to buy snacks, so that's good. That's good for him. That's good for him and his wallet.
It wasn't really for anything, just to kind of have be silly,
just for fun. Yeah, and that's when they take the previously mentioned Coke break,
right?
Coca-Cola, and
so refreshing.
It's so refreshing. Wow, really refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
So then they head to their final destination, which was glamping. They got like a really fancy like cabin, and they have a few like barbecues set up, and they start grilling tons of meat while the people inside are like putting together, vegetables and stuff for wraps. And Hyunjin and Changbin were the ones like working on cooking all that meat because they're pretty meaty. They're meat guys.
Yeah.
Although Hyunjin did not do a great job. My favorite part of this is like his fire starts to really go out of control.
Yeah.
And Sean's like, "Hey man, what are you doing? You can't let the fire go like that. You can't let it do that." And then Hyunjin's his like solution is like he just starts stacking the meat up on top of each other. On the grill, like to kind of get it away from the flames. And then he keeps like repeating like. He goes, calm down, bro. Calm down, bro. Calm down, bro, to the fire. He's like, calm down, bro. Oh, it's so good. Jesus. So they start eating. Then they start like really sensually feeding each other wraps, like taking full stuffed wraps and stuffing them in each other's faces. And they eat all 15 portions of pork neck. So that's pretty good. So they sit around. They're at a fire. And they start kind of reminiscing a little bit.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a discussion. Chan asks what their most challenging mission was, and of course, all of them say the 333 mission because, of course, Minho was eliminated, and and then Chan just kind of goes. This is when they kind of like bring it back. They're like, "We've been having fun, and they're like, "So, Chan goes, so I feel empty. Does anyone else feel empty without Minho here?" And everybody's like, yeah, totally. Yeah, we feel pretty bad. Everything's bad. It sucks. I skipped a good part.
I was gonna say, yeah, before the empty comment, right? They talk about Chan asks, if anybody wants to call out like one of the other members that they like appreciate or like or whatever for any reason, and we get a lot of good what's the right word, like heartwarming moments, about how each member feels about one of the others. And the man, I can't remember his name for some reason. I need to like write these down so that I have them ready to go. Shotgun fire, but the young one, Jung-in, yeah. What is it? Woojin is talking about him. Oh, it's so cute.
It's so cute. Yeah. Jung-in, like, he's like almost shaking his head. Like, he's kind of in disbelief that, like, it's, the second oldest member, like, appreciates him.
Right.
Not the other way around. And his, like, diligence in the face of this, like, harsh criticism. And he says, like, when I was Jisung's or Jung-in's age, there's no way that I would have been able to take this. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. That is pretty heartwarming. The other people seem to really appreciate Changbin. Jisung mentioned it and said that like they kind of have a bit of a rivalry about things, and that kind of helps them like push each other to do better rapping and doing everything else. And Felix also said that he like depends on Changbin a lot, and especially when he first got there, for help, like knowing how to navigate being in Korea, because he lived in Australia until after he left school.
Right.
So like there's a whole culture shock, and that was the person who helped him through it. So
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing. And Changbin says that that the three Racha, you know, have been together for a long time, Jisung, Changbin, and Bangchan, and that and that the Jisung and Changbin are not always super serious, which makes it really hard for Bangchan. And then like it shows like Bangchan's like and then his eyes like flash like super serious and dark,
Yeah.
like having a memory about how they're not taking it serious and he's super serious. It's really funny.
Hmm.
But that's when Chan says then
He's
that
feeling
he
empty.
feels empty.
And then the staff goes, "Hey, did you watch the video?"
Yeah. Yeah, they cut to it, and they say when Minho's leaving the dorm, they cut to him basically saying that he recorded a letter for them, and they go to watch it right there at the fireside, and most of the members were just kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to watch it. And Chan specifically is like, do we have to watch this here? Do we have to do this now? Like, is this the thing we have to do? But they do. And it is heart-wrenching. He talks directly to the members and tells them that he was sorry that he couldn't improve as much as they helped him.
Yeah.
He said Changbin helped him a lot, especially with the rapping portion in the last challenge. And he talked about how Jisung held his hand during the first elevator stage where he was made to rap without any practice, which helped him. And he said, maybe the reason I forgot my lyrics is because you weren't holding my hand this time, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I think he was just trying to be cute, but it was really, really sad. And of course, the members all started crying again.
As
Felix,
did I.
Yeah. I mean, it was... this is my third time through the series, so it chokes me up still, but like I definitely don't... I'm not dropping tears this time, but I have.
Pussy.
Like I'm saying like I've shed tears over these scenes like before. This is
Who wouldn't? Who would? You're heartless if you don't
You are
cry
heartless
watching
if you
this.
don't. Minho will be sorely missed, and you know he tells them he hopes they succeed, and they kind of pledge to do well in their next mission because they are going to get another mission next time. They're not going to be on vacation again. And everyone's sad that Minho's gone, and they should be. He helped them a lot. And you know, when they cut together the montage as they're like talking about how much he helped them, like it starts to become like clearer just like how huge of a role he played in their development of coaching for dance specifically, because that was like his thing. He was like a very I don't know, like well performing dancer. I mean, like he was good enough to be a backup dancer for BTS. They were like the biggest act in the world at the time. I mean, they still are, but they were too.
I still am.
Yeah.
What is the Mitch Hedberg? Mitch Hedberg. Yeah. I used to do drugs.
Used to be.
I still do, but I used to
too. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the end of the episode. They start the preview, and I stopped it because I don't want previews. But we did the teaser. They told us that they're going to YG Entertainment, and they're going to have a competition with YG. And YG is one of the other big three. It's actually the one that is the head of that company was in the first, quote unquote, first K-pop group. So, that'll be interesting. There's definitely I'm gonna pull a clip for that episode that we'll watch together. We may have to like pause mid episode or something to watch it. because they show that like they cut into the past, because it won't be the only competition that has ever happened, and they cut to the past to show like a little bit of what happened in the previous one.
Yeah.
But they don't show enough. I feel like they really don't show enough to show like just how well it went. So I don't know. It's pretty intense, and I think I'll pull like the whole clip that they only show a part of, so that we can watch the whole thing. It'll be cool. It's gonna be so great. So.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about, like, this episode is all about overall impressions, I feel like. Like, it is so heart-wrenching that, like, they already gave us the drama at the end of the last episode being like, Minho's gone. And this whole episode was about, like, the loss of Minho and how everybody's sad and needs to try and work on feeling better, but somebody's, like, Hyunjin even, when they were in the market, asked for 9 portions of something.
Yeah.
But just because he's used to ordering for Minho too, and he's just not there. So yeah, like Minho missing is a big gap for them. So, yep. But the other thing that we're midway through is the season. There are only 5 more episodes, and we just watched episode 5. So we are halfway through the survival show. How does that make you feel?
Pretty excited. I mean, obviously, like, it feels like we're just getting started, though. In a weird way, you know. But 5 more episodes to go. I mean, I don't know what else they need to say or do in this type of format before they, start being Stray Kids, essentially.
Right.
So,
yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see it all play out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. I think the final episode was aired live.
Right. I feel like you mentioned that in one of the previous episodes of this podcast.
So gonna be interesting. Can't wait. But it's gonna be good. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be good. If I can get it all edited, I'm so busy. Tomorrow is like, I'm going to be so busy at work. So I'm literally going to do all the editing tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then it'll be out. So hooray.
Wait, so it'll go live like as soon as it doesn't take any time to like process or anything like that. You just put it up and then it will post like at the scheduled time.
It will post, but like I started last week. I scheduled it for midnight, I think. Last week I just put it up because it was like 11 when I finished it anyway. So
okay.
I said, whatever. But the week before I scheduled it for midnight. Although that was the time when I had to pull it down and then put a new version back up because I messed up the intro.
Yeah,
it's fine. And
nobody knows.
Nobody knows except for we keep talking about it, but that's okay. It takes even after it posts, it probably takes like an hour to an hour and a half for it to actually start showing up in the feed on various apps.
Right. Okay.
It'll show up on Anchor immediately, but it won't show up in like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Overcast or anything like that for a little while.
Yeah.
So, yep. So if it's like 11 when I finish, I'm just going to put it up. I'll just put it up, and when it's ready, it's ready. And I said it like that for a reason.
Okay.
I don't have a reason. Okay. It's just, it's just weird.
That's because you're in Texas, I guess.
Was that a Texas thing? I don't know.
Look, man, I don't know. We'll learn. We'll learn about how to say things in different cultures and
good day
countries and states. Yeah.
Sauerkraut. We also have a listener that listened in. We had a listener in Germany. I was trying to think of a German word. Yep.
Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut.
All right, well,
I don't know. Like, sauerkraut is disgusting. Have you had sauerkraut?
Okay, so I'm not typically a fan of sauerkraut, but I will say a nice Reuben sandwich with some sauerkraut on it really hits the spot. The sauerkraut is what sets it off, Phil.
Look, if anyone tells me anything sets anything off, I officially don't believe them.
Oh, is that your hard and fast rule, like my "oh, we'll be great friends" rule?
Yeah, well, it's from personal experience, right? Because I went to a sandwich shop one time and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a Chipotle chicken cheesesteak. And it was delicious. Always, every time. And this time when I went, they were like, hey, man, you should get bacon on it. It really sets it off.
Yeah.
And I was like, it sets it off? And then he was like, yeah, it does. And then the dude behind him was like, oh, man, bacon on the chicken cheesesteak? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, man, it really sets it off. And I'm like, two different people who were working there were like, oh, it sets it off, man. Oh, it really sets it off. And I said, all right, give me the bacon. And then I took it home and I ate it. And it made it objectively worse. It was worse in every way. It tasted more like bacon and less like chicken Chipotle cheesesteak, which is what I wanted. I didn't want bacon chicken Chipotle. I want chicken. So anyway, now when I hear like, oh, it really sets it off, I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. By default, it does not.
Yeah, well, I just don't think that you can have a Reuben sandwich without a little sauerkraut. So, you're just gonna have to get, or you could just never eat Reuben sandwiches, I suppose.
What if I? What? Can I say this?
Go ahead, tell me.
What if I eat a Reuben sandwich, but with a just an angry German? You know, because he'd be a sauerkraut.
I got it. Don't worry, I got it.
Am I gonna cut that? I'm gonna cut that.
No, leave it in.
All right, fine.
I'm of German descent. Like,
so am I.
I'll allow it.
Like, the only reason I know about sauerkraut or eating sauerkraut or that it's gross is because I also am of German descent.
Yeah.
So, my mom was like, yeah, I'll make you a pile of sauerkraut. And then I ate like a bite of it. And I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever had. So that was my experience with sauerkraut.
I would never eat it by itself.
Yeah, it was just by itself, like a side. It was just like a pile on a plate. I don't know. It's just torture. Was it torture? maybe my mom was just fucking with me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, she was the type to do that. So
yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Sure does.
Anyway, so how are you?
Pretty good. I'm a lot better than I was an hour ago when I was crying.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. I don't know how to end the episode anymore, because every other episode I've just been like, what's our theme song? We don't have an ending theme song, but now we do.
Yeah.
So like I imagine that it's just gonna like kick in at a certain point and it's just gonna start playing. We're just gonna start hearing it play right now, and then we're gonna slowly fade out, I guess.
Yeah.